Yeah, replace
And
this.
really, really crappy camera work coming your way.
Yep. Thanks, Griff.
Scriff. Yeah, thanks, Griff. Scriff. He controls my hand.
Yeah.
Winstrike versus IG. We finally get to cast Winstrike, a team which we will be casting a lot here on Stream 4. We have, I think, 4 series on Stream 4 of Winstrike that we'll be casting over the next 3 days. So I'm hoping, Sind, that they're going to perform really, really well, and that 0-2 that they were inflicted by Mineski earlier today was just a random thing.
We'll see how it goes. I think the team that they're facing right now is a team that a lot of people were not expecting to do particularly well based on power rankings going into the tournament, but IG so far have pulled off 2 draws against, I believe it was EG and was it Mineski as well? Or
I can double check for you.
I think it was EG and was it Mineski? Why is this eluding me right now? I looked at it earlier.
I am double checking for you. Invictus Gaming. What the hell? Okay, so yeah, 1-1 versus EG and 1-1 versus Mineski.
Yeah.
You are 100% right, Cinder, and never doubt yourself.
Going by that, Winstrike got beaten handily by Mineski 2-0.
Yeah.
Invictus Gaming gave them a good fight. They got a draw, and they got a draw against another team that is basically on top of their group. I think EG is tied. No, they're not tied for first. They're tied for second, I believe.
Yeah, they're tied for second because it's been, well, yeah, you got EG, Mineski, and Liquid all tied 3-1 for first. It's the other group where we have VGJ, who are number 1, and VP and Nubia tied for second.
Gotcha. So, yeah. Going into this, I would consider IG, just based on what we've seen so far today, a pretty clear favorite.
I would too, but at the same time, like IG's really strong game was because of their IO gyrocopter they were able to have. Like aggressive just dominated so hard, and it's no surprise Winstrike banned it out in the first phase.
Yeah, that was their win against EG, I believe.
It was.
So yeah, I think we're going to see IO banned quite a lot by the second pick team, which is something we're used to seeing pretty much 3/4 of the year. So we actually didn't see it just on the way into TI, but now it's made its way back to the top ban.
Well, everyone thought it wasn't great. Like we had a game earlier today, which was like I was relocating in, global silence falls, and all of a sudden, no more relocate. But
Silencer is a pretty nice solution for IO. The global silence to cancel relocate and the arcane curse to prevent healing is pretty useful. So this is a really early undying pick from Winstrike. I think this team just going into this tournament will be just, this is what we've got. We're going to play our style and we don't care too much.
Yeah.
I think obviously they have to accept and realize what the meta is, but they will be playing to their own strengths.
It just seems real odd to go undying this early on, especially up against Mirana, like attack speed increase. Is that Tombstone really going to last for very long?
Yeah, it is definitely not going to be a great Tombstone game if IG don't want it to be.
Yeah. So then do we start looking at the laning phase, which currently is 2-1-2? Like, you do an undying, you trying to force an aggro lane, or is there just a unbelievable off-lane combo? Does the Necro work well enough with undying?
It's a pretty strong lane, given that you have Necro in a good core matchup, but they don't know what matchup he has yet. They can always just choose to put him in the safe lane, or they can even put him mid, but the Mirana matchup in mid is pretty bad, actually. It's one of the worst matchups for Necro that he can have there, so...
Yeah. So we assume he'll be in one of the side lanes?
I think so. Given that the Mirana is mid, which there's no guarantee for, that is also a side lane hero. If you're feeling really creative, you can put it on support role, but I would not advise that in this patch. But you never know if IG would pull off something like that.
When did they create the very heavenly light?
On the pick.
Our screen up there on the pick. But it's funny because on my screen I didn't even see it, and I'm meant to be the obs.
Yeah, on my screen it's like half intensity. That's interesting.
That's like full intensity. It's just like, oh.
And then it turns into AA.
A Shadow Demon.
Well, it could have. Ice Blast would have been great this game. There's 2 healers on the Radiant side. But they're going to go for the Shadow Demon. I would consider this, so there's 2 reasons for this pick. I think it's one of the absolute hardest counters to Necrophos in the entire game, and it has great synergy with Mirana. You can disrupt into arrow. Obviously, the reason it's great against Necrophos is you cast Demonic Purge on the guy for 7 seconds. He cannot use Ghost Shroud. It gets instant purged, and you have a save against Reaper Scythe.
Yeah.
In addition to that, you even have Soul Catcher, which is also great against Necrophos because he's one of those heroes that wants to like float around a decent amount of health, and the way you kill him is you just have sick burst, and Shadow Demon just offers it. You know, it's a really nice pick here from IG. I'm a big fan of this choice.
He's a great sync up with Mirana as well. So SD could be in the lane, and this could even be a roaming Mirana if you want to go down that road. But we haven't had that in a very long time.
Yeah.
Should be core, but it's one of the older combinations.
It feels to me like Q always impresses me at TI with drafting. I think he always has really good ideas, and so I would say a lot of the times he's not too like crazy creative, but it's just really fundamentally solid, and it makes just a lot of sense when you look at the picks what the thought process is. You can kind of figure out what they're thinking with every pick most of the time when you see Q draft. So I think he's very well prepared, and he knows what his team's strengths are. And you should never sleep on his teams going into TI. Like I said, a lot of people expect IG to not do well. I kind of myself had a feeling that they could be pretty good. We'll see how it goes. So far, their 2 draws are good results. They're good enough to lead them at least toward a main event.
Yeah.
And maybe a decent placement in the group.
I know a lot of my questioning around IG was mainly because of the way we were kind of introduced to them, like Bobica bouncing around at DAC, and his Monkey King play just shattered everything. And XSS on his Magnus, they had this great combination of the roaming and the team fight, and then it all just gelled well together. And my concern was that this meta just isn't their kind of style. And at least with the Ion Gyrocopter, it worked because it was just unbridled aggression, very reminiscent of CDEC days for aggressive. But yeah,
I would say I agree. I think some of the absolutely most impressive stuff from Bobica is not that good this patch.
Yeah,
he is really great on the 2 heroes you mentioned. He's great on Ricky, which is pretty bad right now in most games, and he's really good on Earth Spirit, which we have started seeing a little bit, so maybe it's making a comeback, and if it is, that could definitely be an interesting pickup for IG. I think Bobica plays one of the absolute best Earth Spirits out there.
Yeah.
So that is one of the tools they can grab.
It was VGJ, right, that just got a victory with that against Team Secret. We're watching it on the TVs.
Was there an Earth Spirit in that game? I'm not sure. There was one in the Fnatic game.
Yeah, it was the Fnatic game.
Fnatic had one, and there was one other, but I don't remember who played that. So, yeah.
But Silence would be nice against the Necro to at least try and control him.
Yeah, they could grab it here. It's not out of the question, but I feel like Undying is a pretty annoying matchup in lanes.
Yeah. Do you just go all out range then and you just get like that extra... Actually, you still need to have the strength in your lineup.
You don't have to.
You just... You got magical burst damage. You need a little bit of physical to go with it, but...
I could see this being a draw game.
Yeah, that's where my mind was going, but I didn't really want to commit myself to it.
IG have 4th pick, or rather they have the last pick in this phase, and they already have a good setup for going that route.
Yes. I was about to say, would it be a really great game to have an Enigma? Like, I would like to have an Enigma, please. There's been 2 of them already. We got neither of them.
I always feels it's weird. You look at these heroes and you're like, wow, they have 2 melee supports. They have Undying and Shaker, but they're not really truly melee. Shaker has a long-range stun. Undying's spellcasts are ranged, and he's a lot more about the tombstone as well. But just when it comes to the small things in laning with like pressuring that extra little bit with the auto attacks, they don't offer the same as other supports do. I would say Undying is generally pretty good at it, but given that they picked Shaker, it's probably a 5 Undying, and 5 Undying just often doesn't have enough gold to have the resources to go in and hit, because you end up losing the trading battle with Undying, and that feels really bad. Like you want to win your lane. So forcing him onto a 5 here, I think, is a risky proposition from Winstrike, but it seems to have caught IG a little bit off guard at least. They're taking their time on this pick.
Yeah. It's like, do they commit to it? Clockwork will be the pickup, so good way to separate the fight, gives them at least a little bit of a mana burn against the Necro.
And it's with Q. It's very logical. Yeah. This guy is going to open the fight for them. Their follow-up is an arrow. They can hookshot into arrow. It's a good counter pick against Shaker in any position. It's one of the few heroes that can actually fight Undying early on with Battery Assault. You're pretty strong. And it's magic damage type against Necrophos if he gets Ghost Shroud off, in case Shadow Demon just isn't there, or Necrophos somehow managed to survive for 20 years during the ulti.
Who was it that used to run always like the SD and the Clockwork dual lane?
Oh, that's a while ago.
It was disruption to Cog's Battery Assault, and they just held him inside.
Oh, I don't remember. But that's a long time ago.
I'm just thinking, like, the more I see this too, like you talk about like it being very logical from Q, like he's pulling some old kind of what plays out of
Something is telling me Cloud9 with Bone 7. I don't know why, but that's quite a long time ago.
No, that would have been.
I remember
like
he
back,
played a lot
I mean,
of
like
Clockwork.
back when Singh was still playing with them.
Yeah, I think so. Was that TI4? I think it was TI4. Huh. I'm not sure. Might even be TI3.
Anyway, they used to be a
time.
combination back in the day of Dota.
Yeah.
Move on. Weaver.
Yeah, we're going to grab Weaver. Strong laner this patch is able to use Shaker very well to set himself up to get in close and use the Swarm.
I'm wondering if he's also feeling very happy that they don't have enough instant disable against him. Like, disruption into arrows can be the best control.
That's dangerous, though.
Yeah.
He's got to be careful with that. And actually, Clockwork is not the worst matchup.
Really?
He's pretty good against Weaver.
Does Battery Assault interrupt the Weaver enough he can't time-lapse?
No.
There's still
He will still get that off. But it's more that, you know, when Weaver comes in close and wants to go for a fight and try to take kills, that hook shot can come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And Weaver often relies on just having information, like knowing where the key counters are so he can Shikuchi around it and avoid the biggest problems. And when it comes to Clockwork, you just have to feel like, okay, if I don't see Clockwork, I could get hook shot at any given time.
Yeah.
And even if the stun is just 1.5 seconds, a lot of the times it's enough. Weaver is a super fragile hero, so you got to be a bit careful. I love this Dragon Knight pick against Weaver. Don't like it so much against the rest, though, actually. I think the Necrophos matchup is pretty bad for DK. He gets a lot of health, so the aura, the Heartstopper starts dragging you down, and once you get to half HP, you can actually die to a Reaper. So that's dangerous, and there's an Undying too. So
at least he has the armor to survive. Like there's very little physical damage outside the Weaver that's probably going to really cause him a problem.
He has the armor, which is definitely going to be great against the Scarabs or the Swarm. And again, you just look across IG's lineup, and you just see synergy, right? You see this, they're going to group up, they're going to use Dragon Forms to push towers, and then they have the Dragon Knight they have a save from Shadow Demon for the tanky frontline Dragon Knight, and he has a stun that sets up arrows. Now there's multiple setups. I think what IG are looking for to round out this lineup would be some nice team fight. Put the Clockwork on position 4 and get a team fighter on the 3, or you put Mirana as a position 3 Dragon Knight mid and get yourself a team fighting safe lane carry. We'll see what they think.
The answer is Visage.
Okay, it's team fight, not really in the form I was expecting though, but it's a group up and team fight hero at least.
They probably wanted something that could be the push power that go along with the DK.
Absolutely.
But this isn't like the Fnatic draft that we were watching earlier. Where,
it's a bit similar actually.
You got the frontline tank, and then the birds and everything else does the job?
Yeah, they had the Lone Druid instead of Dragon Knight. It's similar logic, right? Like, we're going to go to you, we're going to fight you, and you're going to have to respond because we push really fast. And do you guys think you can win the fight?
But doesn't Winstrike like that type of opportunity? Like, this is what the Undying needs to do.
The Tombstone ended up...
in the fight.
Oh, that's another good point, actually. The Familiars are good against the Tombstone. So they get a solution for that in addition to Leap. But I could see Tombstone being okay this game. At least in the right situation, if the birds are busy or are killed off, or you know. Is
this when you wait for like the Pugna pickups? They can actually. Can you still decrep? Like, that wasn't patched down, right?
Oh man, I don't remember.
Yeah, I remember there being like decrep a Tombstone, and I don't know if that.
I think you can again, but I'm not sure.
Let's bounce back and forward, right? But, anyway, like maybe that's one of their options, but it's a little squishier in the lanes. But the choice, it's going to be a Lycan from Winstrike. So looking for. A very fast, tanky, heavy damage dealing core. This feels a little late to come online.
Lycan is really good against Visage because you can't get slowed by the Grave Chill, and all of the summons that you have just remove the
Gravekeeper's Cloak?
The cloak really quickly. It got nerfed from 50 to 40 damage threshold. I'm not sure if that matters for the Necrobook units or the Wolves. But I do think it actually might make a difference for Lycan in terms of piercing through that cloak. And once Visage loses cloak, Lycan eats him alive. So fast. Like, we're talking 2 or 3 seconds, and Visage can't get away. The downside, however, is that Lycan is not really the strongest laner. So when it comes to IG's lineup, they might be able to get off to a good head start. And we know what this kind of lineup can do with just balling up and going for the push. So gotta be a bit careful with that. Good news for Iceberg on the Winstrike side is it looks like he will likely be able to get a good matchup for the Necrophos on most likely mid lane. I think more often than not that's Necro's weakest lane, but in this game his matchup is either Visage, which is fine, Dragon Knight, which is great, or Mirana, which is bad. So that's the one he needs to avoid.
The fact that XXS is on the DK though probably means that we're seeing him on a side lane, and aggressive's Mirana. Unlikely he goes mid.
Have IG started putting SRF more in mid and XXS more on a side lane, or?
I don't know if that's actually switched around or not.
Because XXS is a mid player, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Like SRF is
right.
classically their side lane player. But XXS used to be a fantastic offlaner for this team.
He was the big offlaner. So yeah,
super good on Mac.
Yeah, I went back in history in my brain.
Yeah, but it makes sense though. When you have a player like that who's played mid, and you know in this patch how much it's about swapping lanes around and stuff. So if they see it as a good side lane Dragon Knight game, why not? If they can avoid that Necro matchup, I think he's very happy. Because in my mind, this is a super Necro favored lane. Like he's gonna crush him. Yeah, you gotta be wary of that.
We'll see how confident Aggressive is to actually take that mid, but all right, bounce out into the lanes. Where are we gonna go? Aggressive's headed north. XSS will be the mid, and SRF's gonna be the off lane with Q, the SD support. And you've got the Clockwork from Bobica already heading down towards the bottom lane. He's ready to fight. He's going 3 mangoes, 1 stout shield, and 6 tangos. Ready to take all the damage in the world. Top lane, Non-Grata, gonna be the Weaver, going with No Fears ES. Undying. We'll see where he'll end up. He's just roaming for now. Iceberg will be the mid Necro, and then down on bottom lane is Silence Lycan. And I always worry about a Lycan early on. Like, how do you always get a good start with a Lycan? Like, there's so many games of a Lycan where you can just get pressured out of the lane.
Yeah, it's not... He doesn't have the worst matchup this time. I think he's pretty good against Clockwork, actually. Just, you stay alive with your Feral Impulse, you heal up over time. Clockwork doesn't have the highest damage output as a support until he's level 3. I mean, saying that is not actually true, because Battery Assault is amazing if you get to run it the whole time, but do you in this lane? I don't think that's going to happen. But once he's level 3 and has both Cogs and level 2 Battery, it will be pretty strong. The Visage, however, who looks to be going off lane, is not really that strong of a laner either. And that's good news for Silent. I think he's actually going to be very okay against this lane that he's facing.
So we're going to see a straight trade-off. Bobica Cogs up. Silent can at least... Nope. And... nope. And doesn't get the bounty rune.
Classic.
Torn it away. It's a 2-for-2 trade-off. Everyone gets revealed, and Bobica knows... Silent knows he's going to need a little bit of help. Silent's been like... He's always like that like the silent achiever, not underachiever. The silent achiever. I actually... It wasn't even intending the pun. This is just the point I'm reaching. But... There's not that much fuss ever made about Silent when he plays.
I would agree. He's just very solidly gets the job done most of the time.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have the most flashy moments, and I guess that's why. But you don't have to play flashy to win games. You need to do your job, and you need to do it well. And Silent generally does exactly that.
Yeah, he's standing his ground against Bobica. He knows if he just walks away, the Cogs are going to just burn him off. Okay, Cogs are going to burn him anyway. No. no farm for you. Quick fortification out from both sides. I think they're trying to play around with this mid lane as XSS was getting pretty aggressive against Iceberg. And No Fear and Q are deciding to go for a little bit of a roaming trip through the dire jungle. It's actually going to open up for the rotation. No Fear. He doesn't want to fissure block in. There's nothing really for Iceberg to capitalize on if he does so.
You still gotta do something, right? Like, why not? You can harass him a little bit. If he doesn't see any play at all, I guess he could go top. But I think, as far as kill potential goes, Fissure is really bad against Mirana in a side lane. He'll just leap across. Use 1 leap on the Fissure if he needs to, and Non-Grata should not be able to find any kills up top.
Yeah. Bobica's looking for an opening, but he can't find it, so he pulls the lane instead. It's gonna bounce this dire creep wave underneath the tier 1 tower, so Silent's gonna take a bit of a long way around the tier 1. Keep his creep wave in check, same thing as the Clockwork's already done. Even though he did lose the range creep.
Where'd that go?
Yeah, it...
Oh, it's here now.
Hmm?
It came back.
Yeah, it followed down, then bounced into SRF,
Nice.
and then came back to the lane. Oh, farm? No. Clockwork's 8th deny, and I'm fairly certain 6 of these are from Cogs.
Man, Cogs have been nerfed so much when you think about it. They used to cost 50 mana and burn 80. Now they cost 80 mana and burn 50. That's like such a big change to that spell. And really, Clockwork used to be one of the most contested early picks as a support and just massively fell off after that change.
Yep. Maybe this is the reason too why Bobik is very happy to make the most of the Arcane Rune. Cogs looking to lock inside. Always want to fly with the Soul Assumption damage. Undying gets burned a little bit. Stick charges gives him a little bit more life. He thinks about turning around. In fact, he does start doing so. He doesn't really have a lot of mana to work with, so it's more posturing than anything else. Because he can't help Silent anymore, unless he wants to feed First Blood to the offlane of IG.
I think he should be looking to suicide in the jungle here. Looks like Always Want to Fly will walk all the way back to base. There are situations in the game where it's faster to actually hang on. Oh, we're fine.
He's okay. The Breathe Fire hits Iceberg and he does no more damage after this point.
So to give you an idea of what's happening down here, this Undying walked all the way back to base. And this walk that he just went on took more than 30 seconds. And now he also needs to heal up fully in Fountain. So it's going to be like a grand total of like 45 seconds before he's ready to come back.
Oh, nice arrow with the disruption into a Starfall. No Fear's in trouble. Creeps coming in from the side. They will not find the denial, however. First blood goes to IAG. The trade-off will be a quick Shukuchi through, then up him. But then again, yeah, there's stick charges available. Not to mention 3 now poison stacks onto the Weaver. So he'll grab the SD, but
big win for IG safe lane there.
Yeah, aggressive gets money as well as experience. Now a full 2 levels in front of No Fear.
He got more than 600 gold for that. He got a double kill and the first one was the first blood, so that's massive for this lane. I'll just finish off on my thought because I think we're going to see this later. Actually, wait a second, bottom lane. Silent is cogged in by Bobica here.
As RF's got the little extra damage, tick charge to keep him alive. Always Want to Fly has got decay off cooldown in 1 second time. And he's looking for the Visage. He won't really claim him.
This thing I was talking about, you will be seeing this across TI this year because the players have got a better understanding now of the value of dying, actually. There are situations in the game where it's better to die than not, and it's very counterintuitive if you don't play the game very much or if you don't play it at a high level. You see this, you're like, why is he dying, you know? He could just stay alive. Wow. But sometimes...
Always Want to Fly. They managed to get the kill on Bobica because he's got 1 point up in Soul Rip. It's very value. They battled underneath the tombstone for a while, and that's why you just saw more and more Undying minions.
And the wolves, too.
Access, trade off, 5 in a bounty rune, Always Want to Fly. Came to grab it, but he won't have it.
2 for 2 again.
Yeah, but it's bottle charges as well for the DK, which is probably a little bit better.
We'll see if I have a chance to finish off what I was saying now.
give it a shot, man.
Well, we'll have a look. Actually, wait a second. Silent's getting going on here. I think he's going to be fine with the wolves.
Yeah, he's okay.
So basically, what I was talking about with Always Want to Fly was he walked all the way back to base, which took like 45 seconds, and then he TP'd out. For comparison, he could have suicided to the neutral camp, spent his unreliable gold, and then he gets a 24-second respawn in your level 2 or something, and then TP'd back out to lane. So sometimes it's faster to die as long as you can spend your unreliable gold. And I think he should have done it there.
Doesn't get the stun off correctly. They need a little bit more damage, and they got the scythe available here from Iceberg. He's holding on to it. They need a little bit extra damage, and then it's aggressive, who just TPs over, and now he's claimed 100% of the kills for IG. All 3 of them belong to this safe lane Mirana.
That was a massive overdive.
They really wanted it. They just want the extra fissure, but because there's no point in the aftershock, he didn't get the initial stun to XSS, and he was in position for it. Q's in trouble up on top because he does have 4 Shadow Poison stacks on the Weaver. Gotta be a little bit more careful as this levels up, and Aggressive kind of knows it. So he leaps Starfall and hits it perfectly. Calculated with the SD. That's 2 points up in the Shadow Poison, hence such hefty damage.
That was really nicely done. Aggressive's been looking great so far this tournament.
Yeah, he's switched on.
He is very hot for this TI.
Bottom lane, they're going to go after Baboka. I mean, after Silent with Baboka.
This time he's dead.
Yeah. Always Want to Fly, Soul Rip to help out, Tombstone and the decay.
Surely.
Okay, no, surely not. The fissure from No Fear arrives in the back, and SRF, he's going to be the one to fall. It looked IG.
Surely SRF is dead. Of course. It was a great Soul Rip. The timing on that from Always Want to Fly was good, and the rotation in from Shaker to get the counter kill. Nicely done from Winstrike in that bottom lane.
Iceberg, Always Want to Fly is rotated in towards the mid lane now. Is his decay onto the DK, but Iceberg's got 4 points of Shadow Poison on him. All right, let's almost 5.
I think he still would have been fine with 5 stacks, but he would have dropped really low.
Now, this is that, you remember that conversation I was having with BSJ before? It's like the level 25 talent if you ever get ST to it. With the, actually, not the purge damage. Sorry, the level the 25% poison damage and then the negative 1.5 second cooldown.
Yeah, you can
So
go
for level
for a
20.
build. You can go for a build that's very Shadow Poison intensive.
Yeah, it just wrecks. Like you do it so quickly.
That build is actually not half bad this game. It could be pretty useful.
It's a good counter push to it.
It's a good counter push and it kills Necro. That hero is not very mobile, so it's pretty easy to hit multiple Shadow Demons, Shadow Poison stacks on him.
Great Observer Ward from IG. This has seen Winstrike coming multiple times to the top lane, so aggressive just backs off. He knows he's okay, and they know that ES is up on top lane. So Silence, pretty alone, but maybe not so alone. He's actually stolen us out of Tormentor. So the Dominator build in for the Lycan. You mentioned he goes like full summons. Do you rush up the Necro book?
Yeah, you do.
That's your first item after Dominator?
For sure. It's the standard. It's a default Lycan build right now, and with the laning start he has and the matchups that he has, I think it's the item this game.
And the no boots build.
It's a really big problem for Shadow Demon too. We haven't really talked about that, but Shadow Demon hates getting run at by summons. He has no counterplay. All he can do is disrupt himself, and then he ends up dying anyway. So yeah, Q is gonna have a tough time when Lycan comes running at him with his army later on.
And that disruption's meant to be for the aggressive arrow or for aggressive movement in from IG.
Or for a save against Reaper.
Yeah.
If they can manage to use Lycan to just zone Shadow Demon out of the fights, it's actually going to be really, really useful.
Well, DK TPing in with Baboka, but it's the fact that Lycan has rotated over, so both Undying as well as Lycan ready to dive this mid lane. The Observer Ward's on the northern side of the mid lane as Arg.
Did that dire scan just miss them by like a millimeter? Oh, doesn't matter. Cogs end up. Wait, why did he cog there?
Uncertain.
Did he know they were coming? I think he did. Well, still looks like it could be a tower.
Yeah, tier 1 tower's dropping quickly. The Moonlight Shadow from IG at least gives them some level of protection, but they didn't go for the denial. They potentially would have lost too much more, and at least there's space from... Actually, no, there's not. He couldn't reach the tier 1 tower in time, so Lycan comes to the bottom lane to defend against the Visage.
He's a Dominator too. He got himself a Centaur.
Yep.
And this rotation from Winstrike is very, very... something IG are very aware of.
Oh, Vision needs to create some space as Undying gets stunned up. He can tombstone on the high ground. XSS will be able to bottle up onto that double damage rune, so increased damage arriving. Silent being very patient, not burning his shapeshift.
The prize is mine.
And this top lane's been relatively quiet for a while now. Non-Grata's actually just sitting there with his Weaver farming. We've seen one move from aggressive in toward the mid when he TP'd, but apart from that...
Iceberg's dead.
He
is able to get the stick charges off. Can he shroud as well as Death Pulse? He can. Arrow flies forward. Will hit the catapult, but he is totally surrounded. 4 heroes in mid lane. The only one not there is Q, who's walking back to base. But then you see Winstrike. They look to pressure the bottom lane.
Silent had his helm on cooldown, or he would have taken the siege creep there. So this push is not going to be as fast as it could have been. And in the meantime, in the mid lane, we have a really fast one. Dragon Knight double damage, siege creep, and the Visage with birds. Easy grab for them. They might concede this bottom tower and not try to defend it. It's not the most valuable tower on the map, especially on this game, because they don't really need access to the Ancients too much, I would say.
They may want to worry about their other Ancients. They have quite a nice stack of Ancients.
That's true. Dragon Knight, actually, yeah. Dragon Knight will probably want a stack or two, so could be useful for Winstrike.
Do they actually have a way to farm it just yet? Like
Dragon Knight's 12.
Yeah, and that's going to take some time. Like that's a big stack.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you could have Winstrike come over and try and steal some of it.
Yeah, they're not too great at it either, though.
Yeah. At least you'll have the Undying Tombstone to give you some level of cover.
They could Tombstone, Swarm, and use Lycan, and then maybe kill the Ancient stack. But at that point, it's like, is that even worth it?
Yeah. That's a pretty big commitment, but IG keeps stacking this. Like, Q's come back to do it all over again. He just keeps going. In fact, he's trying to get the double stack.
He's failing this one.
Yeah. It's too full. All right, so Winstrike move towards the top lane. It's an injured tier 1 tower.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
You knew Winstrike were going to get aggressive. Like, they want to make the most of always want to fly. 3 points up in that tombstone. Every time it's on cooldown, you're like wondering, okay, so what's the point of this Undying? And it will be a straight up tower trade. SRF's taking the bottom tier 1.
They could
because
try to
hunting-
defend if they wanted to, actually.
They had the level 6 on Clockwork, so they have initiation.
Dire's top tower.
But they don't have the Moonlight Shadow anymore. It was burned by Aggressive to escape the scouting of Winstrike.
They will just trade. I think there was a possible play there with some flanking move with a couple of TPs on the Moonlight Shadow or Smoke.
They actually stole the siege
But they're
creep,
fine
so
with
SRF
just-
can keep going.
Yeah.
He's going to push to the tier 2.
They're just like, okay, guys, well, we're faster than you if you're not using Lycan to push with, and they're not. Sound is farming jungle. He's their fastest pushing hero, and he's not part of it, so IG are just quicker.
Yep.
They almost get the tier 2 at the same time that
I don't think
Winstrike
it's
get the top
almost.
tier 1.
I think they're actually getting the tier 2.
Oh, I mean, they were almost getting it at the same time.
time.
Yeah, they're really fast. They could force high ground, force the enemy team back, or look for this opening in mid.
Yep, Silent. He's going to go into the shapeshift form. Disruption comes down. He should already be in wolf form. The arrow, it connects onto one of the small creeps in Q. Well, the army of Necrobooks ran towards him, so Silent gets the kill. And Cogs from Bobica try to create space, but always want to fly. Puts down the tombstone, looking to slow down Bobica. Steal some of his life. Hook shot, it misses. Not exactly certain what that was aiming for, but either way, it misses. But on bottom lane, the push is still there from SRF. Catapult plus Familiars. Always want to fly as the one to TP back to defend it. And maybe actually the one to die there. Triggers off the Undying ulti, and SRF has had enough.
He forced a TP from Lycan too. He's pretty happy with that.
Lycan may still be happy to come back
Yeah,
and fight, because this will be level 2 Necrobook for him.
That move in mid, I think Aggressive actually made himself miss the arrow by leaping before. He got so close and mistimed the arrow, and if that one connects on Lycan, that's a totally different story. Iceberg, if he gets purged, he is probably toes.
He stopped for half a second to Death Pulse. Now, well, Nograda turns around. They want to kill up Q, and they've got him. The Scythe
Nice turnaround.
there to just destroy. They had the Observer Wars. They knew exactly what they're up against in the distance of it.
Yep. They have a nice deep Observer Ward top as well behind that tier 2, so if they do look to push this tower next with their Undying, they will have great information to use.
They also see the Blink Dagger on the way out.
True.
So this is now the initiation arriving in for DK. They're trying to keep it secret away from the creep wave, but now Moonlight Shadow. Sentry is down for the Radiant side. They see the Observer Wards. They'll get rid of it quickly. So IG will not push in with the Moonlight Shadow.
Thought for a second SRF was thinking about trying to fight the Lycan bottom, knowing that he doesn't have Shapeshift, but he
has-
does find a Dom creep. That's 200 gold. That's pretty nice. He finds the bounties, and I think, was that a 2 for 2, or... Where's the last bounty rune? They haven't all been picked up, have they?
Was it bottled?
I'm seeing 3 runes right now.
Yeah.
Maybe one got denied by a wolf or something. I think that might be what happened.
Yeah, one on the bottom, that would make sense.
Yeah, probably.
Well, Leica moves up towards the top lane, so Winstrike. Maybe they feel they're on the clock and they actually should be looking to go high ground sometime soon. Before IG have all their big items, because the BKBs are obviously going to be a very large concern. DK's building into his now. It's a little longer for the Mirana, however. She's going Manta style first.
Dire's top tower is under
Yep.
attack.
I would agree with Winstrike trying to group up and go for some pushing and maybe a Roche here. Use the Tombstone, use your Lycan Shapeshift, use the book.
Dire's top tower.
Just take advantage of those timings, especially because like, there's no great item on the horizon like a Shaker Dagger. He's far off.
Yeah.
No Fear has so much ground to cover before he gets
He's
there.
actually looking for a 4-star before he gets the Blink Dagger.
Yeah, he's scared of the Clockwork. I can see where he's coming from, but at the same time, it feels like the game where you might actually still, despite Clockwork
Oh, the
being in
smoke
the
is on.
team, go for a Dagger.
Bobic up, the smoke broke.
Nice play.
Sees him in the trees, leads Iceberg for once, can kill off one of these cogs. And Bobic is already beginning his TP out, and Winstrike go over towards Roshan.
Yep.
Clockwork Rocket can continuously scout this out.
They're pretty far away, though.
Yeah, they
I
are.
actually think they just get this.
Can they... Well, yeah, the Clockwork already TP'd out. He's the one that could TP to the shrine and then just jump down, but that's why Winstrike left an Observe Ward behind it and the Illusion Rune from Weaver seeing it all.
They're way too slow here, IG.
Aegis, guys, did somebody forget? Okay, it's Iceberg.
Yeah, they don't want to take it on Lycan because he's a transformation hero, so...
Yep.
one of the worst Aegis carries in the whole game.
Necrobook's jumping forward, XSS goes for it, the arrow, Iceberg taking it, full style, just into the front for the familiar stuns. Iceberg, he's able to get the Ghost Shroud off, he gets the Scythe off, but the SD saving the Dragon Knight from the Reaper's Scythe. Aegis Immortal's already going to burn, but XSS loses his life, and now Silent into shapeshift form, chasing down Q. He's got the higher levels up with the Necrobooks. He can turn his attention over towards at least the Visage, running up and away, slowed down. Familiars can be his saver. Yeah, they actually can't close any. Okay, now they can. Non-Grata has arrived inside the lane. They don't have the extra stun, but Ishikuchi's in front, body blocks to get in range of No Fear's Fissure. And Iceberg on a killing spree, but instantly aggressive, goes towards the bottom lane. He's trying to turn this movement around, brings more people home, and I'm always going to fly, knows he has to commit. Keep aggressive off this tower. Ashley, so they can jump in. XSS blinks forward, gets the stun over an Iceberg. Familiar chaining some once again. Ghost Shroud, this time from Iceberg, able to come off, and he's got 21 charges available. The arrow flies forward, but it only soaks up one of the minions. Now Iceberg in more and more trouble with Familiar. It blocks him off. Aggressive and XSS. XSS will stay with him. Iceberg, damn, this guy's got so much regeneration, but then again, the Shadow Poison stacks. It got bigger. No Fear can hit the Echo Slam. Good damage into the backlines, helps Silent get the kill onto XSS, but now Bobica wants a piece of the pie too. The stun from No Fear. The space couldn't be created. That battery assault was able to move around No Grata and connect over into No Fear. Hence the kill. Arrow SD will not connect properly. That's why SRF in the back lines looking for Silent. No Grata working with these Necrobook units, even though Lycan, well, where is he? He's still trying to, actually no, he's going to turn back into the fight. Aggressive for Q underneath the tier 2 tower maybe is enough to give up the Ghost. Chase down the Familiars instead and get those kills. Missing uphill doesn't help though.
Did you see how fast the Visage died to Necrobook?
Oh yeah.
That was Necrobook and Weaver just tearing him apart from full HP. He's got to be really, really careful. I'm not sure if there's an item build he should go for instead of this. If there's a lot of value, I kind of will like to see him finish the Crest. I think the evasion in this game is just super valuable when you look at what he's facing up against. Would keep him way tankier than this, but he's only got the value medallion and is going into the Aghanims, which is, you know, the logic for that ain't bad either. If your hero's going to die, at least you have 3 birds, or, you know,
his stun control earlier
is nice too.
His stun control earlier on was pretty damn good though to create space in the fight. So having an extra one and the damage that comes along with it.
And it's also comfort, probably. It's the build he's most used to playing, so he likes it. That's fine.
Well, Winstrike can be very happy with the situation. 4,000 gold lead, 5,000 in the experience, and they're looking for more. Looking for the runes, but it's a little late.
The Roche fight for them was definitely really, really good. That's kind of what's blown this game open. They got the team fight afterwards that IG chose to take, fighting into the Aegis Necrophos. And sure, they got rid of the Aegis, but that fight cost them quite a bit of gold.
It seemed like a really good time as well for Winstrike because they still had the Necrobooks up and running after Roshan. They didn't lose any of them.
Yeah.
So that was still involved in the engagement. Or if IG just waited an extra 10, 15 seconds, it would have been a different scenario. Even when they initiated, like DK jumped onto the ramp in front of Roshan.
Yeah, but the guy they went on and committed so much on was Necrophos, and he has the Aegis, so...
Yeah.
The fight is kind of a 6-on-5. And the Necro kill wasn't that quick either. It took them a bit of time. But this next time should be easier.
A Winstrike now forcing in the bottom lane. They have an Alpha Wolf with them, so welcome to that increased damage, plus 30%. Okay, turn on Howl as well. Sure, that's a Necro hitting at 117 plus 175, but he's not your hard hitter. Well, not meant to be.
He's a pretty hard hitter, though.
They're going to come up. Catapult still got that extra bonus too, so IG, they need to do something about it. The Shadow Poison is starting to push back. DK's not getting involved. He's staying up on top lane. And the Alpha Wolf was stolen. So say goodbye to him. But ES will hold this top tower. The man sent to defend. And an ES that doesn't go Force Staff, doesn't go Blink Dagger, is going Aghanim Scepter. He'll die on his way towards it. Potentially can echo for a little bit of space, but okay, not much point to it. Instead, it's down on bottom lane. Jump over towards Q, aggressive. Leap and leap away. Q is stranded in the middle of nowhere. Scythe down, 66 seconds on the sideline. And Silent always want to fight. Wow, my! SRF! The cloak has been ripped from his back.
It is such a bad matchup for Visage. It's one of the absolute worst. You just see it there. He got just soloed in 2 seconds, but like can't do anything. You can try to drop your birds. Like you need to have really, really good bird positioning and timing. Then you can buy the time maybe to try to disengage. But if those bird stuns don't land, or if the Lycan has a BKB, you're in trouble.
IG's looking for another fight. 3-man smoke up. XSS. His Dragon Form's about to wear off. That Arcane Rune sitting in his bottle did not reduce the time, because obviously it's still sitting in his bottle. But he has the Blink Dagger for that range initiation. The Observe Ward is where they get the information up on top lane. But Iceberg, he runs the opposite direction. He came over for the farm, but they'll jump him, and they'll kill him. Necro down for 50 seconds.
Big kill.
Yeah, good money coming into aggressive. He's already got the Manta with the Maelstrom, and now is eyeing up the BKB.
Fortunately for Iceberg, he just got enough gold for his Radiance, so he will have that in the coming fight. They didn't manage to cut him off on the way there. Still looking pretty comfortable for Winstrike, but you have that feeling though that if this game goes late enough, does Winstrike's support duo with this Shaker and Undying have what it takes to actually win the game?
Yeah.
I'm a bit worried for their later portion of this game. Kind of need to keep riding the momentum here, in my opinion.
It's also the gold advantage. Like, okay, they just got themselves a kill. That was fantastic. But IG are getting ahead. They're taking the top tier 1 tower and the tier 2 tower. Aggressive cleans through the waves just so quickly. He went for the attack speed, so no, I'm an arrow boy. He's looking to do heavy amounts of damage, and with the Observe Ward, XSS so aggressive. This isn't a Magnus RP play. This is like put a DK on the front lines and see what you can hook.
I'm sure IG would love to fight now if they could find the opening. They know that Shapeshift is on cooldown. Lycan is a special hero just because, like, when we talk about other heroes and, oh, they have their ultimate on cooldown, they're not as strong right now. Let's say, like, an Enigma, for example, that doesn't have Black Hole, or a Shaker that doesn't have Echo. When you think about Lycan, you don't always think about, okay, how important is it that he doesn't have Shapeshift? It basically, this hero is so weak right now. And then when he has it, he's so strong. So there's this up and down time, kind of like a Night Stalker. It's not as extreme with like Night Stalker Daytime, but it's pretty significant not having this. You really don't want to fight without Shapeshift up. And that's a timing that IG could try to play.
Just love how close IG is to Silence. Silence just walks up, takes the Ancients. He's underneath both an Observer and a Sentry of Dire's side.
He's very tanky though.
He is.
3k health.
Boy.
Low armor though.
That's why he's going for the AC next.
Yeah, he has really low armor against the Visage. I would have liked to see him buy the armor component first. I think you should have bought the plate mill. But, you know, he hasn't died yet this game, so why bother?
Yeah. He's one of the 2 heroes who haven't died yet. It's aggressive and a silent. Big 1 positions. Only difference is Lycan's been involved in 12 kills compared to the 9 of Mirana. But that's still the same percentage of kills that the team's able to achieve. Smoke up from Winstrike. They were out of range of any vision, but already a circle's being drawn on bottom lane by Necro. They know SRF should be around here somewhere. They just don't know where. Smoke to break. It does on Non-Grata. They know where Visage is. Inside the trees. He has TP available. They're even going to dust. They'll see him TPing out, but that's even going to be the Scythe kill.
What? The
Echoed? Maybe they were worried they didn't have enough damage to get the Scythe kill to actually go all the way through.
Oh, the birds are already got the tier 3 tower. And they're going on the Rex bottom.
Aghanims.
Yep.
Does whatever an Aghanims does.
That echo was completely unnecessary. Really, the bigger problem is they Reapered as early as they did, so they felt stressed. They already canceled his TP. He had no way out of that one. So I think that was a little bit overzealous on the spell casting.
Yep.
Oh, they got the kill, so, you know.
Roshan's alive. Non-Grata's going to check it and sees it. XSS is in the neighborhood, however, on the back of his haste rune, but there is nothing he's looking for at the moment. Silence being adding the pressure on bottom lane. So IG will have to think about defending that, and they still don't have Visage for another 28 seconds. The opening is good for Winstrike if they had their Echo Slam. This kind of feels a little bit odd without it now. They're going to start Roshan anyway. Clockwork Rocket will see it. This time IG are not caught napping underneath their tier 3 tower. They're the ones with the established vision on the high ground, but the Radiant Observer Ward, it didn't see BO2 move into position, and he looked to hook at the right time. But it still comes a little too late. So Aegis and Cheese picked up. Silent will take the Cheese. Iceberg with the Aegis. Same as before. Or at least Aegis before.
This has potential to get really scary for IG now. This push that's coming is very, very strong. The Aegis on Necro and almost Lincoln's and the full...
Radiant's bottom shrine is under
I got the global.
was it?
I got the global.
Oh. Almost the full AC finished on Lycan with the Cheese too. They're going to be so strong in this coming fight. And IG might actually just try to avoid it even happening if they can. Split the lanes. Try to get any sort of pick off to just delay this. And you see them right now. They're going to go for the Shrine here to try to cause a distraction or at least get something meaningful done. That's pretty meaningful. We'll get it with SRS.
Yeah.
has fallen.
And now they're going to Moonlight. So this is exactly what they do.
In towards the mid lane. It's Iceberg. Hook shot forward. Always want to fly. Gets the first decay up. But damn, there's so much follow-up. And the Familiar's coming in strong. Now burn the Aegis to the Immortal. Silent. Shapeshift is off cooldown. Necro books in 3 seconds. And Iceberg may look for the fight. He's looking for one of the Familiars at least. And he will be able to claim it. So they're down to 2. And Silent gets his summons off. He's got more friends, but Aggressive's got leap. Up and away. They want to kill the Familiars, no, they're looking for the hero kill. So they forced arm Silent up. Aggressive, he's got another jump. XSS will die in the meantime to Non-Grata. And Aggressive does get away.
Middle tower.
XSS is the one, sorry. And they go high ground.
They have to buy back Dragon Knight here. There's no way they hold this.
Q's trying to. Wow, Q, he just walked straight into it. Something wasn't right there, and he'll get scythed up. 90 seconds without the SD. Now there's no save
Uh-oh.
for any initiation. And Invictus Gaming, someone rocked the boat.
Dire's middle tower.
That's a full mid-rack, but it's more than that. They push so hard when they have the like and when they have such a lineup. They can look to take the tier 3 tower up on top. Bobaca's trying to create a little bit more space. That one Spirit Vessel, but they just shut him down. Echo Slam into the follow-up stun. Clockwork will buy back. He's got hook shot available. Iceberg was pretty low for a bit.
Axe time lapse.
All right, that'll be one way to do it. That's one way to give him all the life back again. I was wondering why he had that ability. I thought Morphling was back on the field. Bobaca, oh, he can't even survive. It's a dieback for Invictus Gaming Clockwork. But bottom lane, SRF is pushing in hard. The Fissure is out. Don't think there's much of a defense from No Fear. He needs support to actually hold this bottom lane of racks, but Aghanims will arrive. Jump in, he goes after the set of Banisher. Meanwhile, they're going back in on top. Aggressive will die underneath this racks. XSS will join him as well. One buyback comes in from the Mirana. One's not available from the DK, however. And No Fear just seems to be tasked with holding back the Visage, who claims the bottom melee racks. But the cost is still high. There's at least the best they can get. Sentry and Observer is perfect from Winstrike. They saw Aggressive moving up. They've already claimed the lane of racks, and I think it's time to retreat. Or it's time to kill. Which one would you like?
Looks like they're favoring retreat now.
Yeah.
So what led to this whole, like, 3-minute fight that we just had was that IG, I think, made a good move. They were like, okay, if Winstrike come to our base and start pushing us, we're in trouble. So they went for the quick play where they got the Necro kill, but unfortunately, the Dragon Knight BKB'd but didn't have any way of getting out of there. So he got run down, didn't have buyback, and one thing led to another. Oh, he did actually have buyback, right? Yeah, he did have it, but Q put himself in a really bad position. Got killed off 90 seconds without buyback, and then they felt we just can't defend anymore. Because I think that trade-off of killing the Necro, losing your Dragon Knight, and then having to buy back Dragon Knight, it's actually not that bad in that situation. You have to feel like if you don't make a move like that and the enemy comes to your high ground, you're in big trouble. But what ended up happening was so much worse. They lost 2 full sides, they had to expend buybacks, and all they got was 1 melee Rex bottom.
Yeah.
Are scanning.
And now they're going to get pushed on the last lane. I'm loving the atomization from Non-Grata, having that Aghanim Scepter. You just see that happen, and all of a sudden there's no way to get an instant kill that IG is searching for, or even a reposition to pull them out of a hook cogs.
They seem unable to kill Necro now. That is a really big issue.
He's got Lincoln Sphere to protect him. They can't get true hit now because he's got Radiance too. And And well, IG, is this your moment? Look to jump in from the side. At the same time, look for that ES position as IG are so clustered up. No fear, you know he wants to jump, and now in he goes. He gets stunned up. They'll control him. Bobica, even with the hook shot, they're just isolating up this ES. Now he goes back in again. The scythe wall drops, space created, stunned into the Visage. They'll burn through him, and this is the game. 4 heroes without a buyback. GG indeed. Winstrike doing it in 32 minutes. Very, very solid performance.
Yeah, this game in the beginning looked like IG were in a good position, but this is what happens in a lot of Lycan games. Lycan gets off to a great start with farm. They find that one opportunity and it gets snowbally really, really quick.
Yeah, fantastic performance from them. Cannot wait to see our final game of the day coming up in just a bit. Winstrike versus IG.
Gaming's turn to bat.
Dota 2 Championship. Winstrike versus IG, already claiming one game in this series. Went the way of Winstrike with a nice, solid, aggressive, pushing draft from Winstrike. Everything we hoped they would get and play very, very well. Game 2, though, Sind. What's the logical draft that Q is now going to do?
I think the adjustments that we're probably going to see from IG is just a stronger ability to fight into what Winstrike are going to do. Because in the last game, it seemed like IG's lineup was very tailored for skirmishes and had some ability to team fight, and this time I think they want to grab the team fight for themselves. So we'll see how it goes. The Visage last game really didn't work out very well, but I think they really got cornered by the Lycan pick in the end. I think that was a great choice from Winstrike that really won them that game.
Yeah, logically, like you ran through it all, like it made sense to pick up the Visage. Like it went against the Undying, but maybe that was the red herring that Winstrike threw into the pool. It's like, hey, you want to try and counter the Undying? We're going to have great team fight. Actually, we've got really great single target, and we just bursted down, and your save can't even interact in time.
I think it was just a kind of dangerous position to pick Visage in, with the enemy team having a last pick core and cores that are already flexible where they can go. It kind of invited Winstrike to counterpick that Visage plus an additional core with kind of anything they could come up with, and that Lycan was great. So yeah, we'll see how it goes this time around. They will first pick the Necrophos, which was run by Winstrike in the last game, and they will grab their Undying again.
We are going down the same road. Of course, the Necro is on IG side.
Yep.
So small change up. Removes a lot of the sustain that Winstrike were able to manipulate. Death Pulse, Soul Rip.
Question is if Winstrike will grab the Mirana this time. That was the first pick of IG last game. We have not seen all tournament, I think.
Yeah.
All tournament, aka today. We haven't seen it. They're going to grab the Weaver, though. Worked very well for them last game. Strong pick this meta, I think. Just able to play the lanes very well. A pretty easy hero to build the lineups around. The thing that people have started doing with Weaver is they go for a way faster peaking build. In the last game, we saw the Diffusal Blade that Weavers can buy, and in some of the other games we've seen, they've gone for Dragonlance into Maelstrom. Just buffing up your hero really early and playing that power spike
5 seconds
can be very, very useful. So, and in addition to that, it's not that easy to counter it out in lane. Not
well, you need like heavy stuns against it, right? And at least with the Scythe, you're able to hold him in position.
They need a catch for that guy, though.
Yeah. Something other than just having to commit your big ultimate, which you want to get the kill with. And Rubik, maybe exactly that. An instant grab. Also, fantastic abilities to steal from both Undying as well as Weaver.
Yep. Shikuchi is amazing. Such a great spell for Rubik. It's historically a classic counter pick. So, makes sense. Also gives them magic resistance aura to protect Necrophos. Makes him that little bit tankier. Perhaps we will see Winstrike, as a result, try to plan for how they're going to kill this Necrophos with physical damage, because their magic will be very weak if he goes for a Hood plus Null Field. Probably going to be a tough one to crack. So maybe something along the lines of a hero like Clinks, maybe, that wants to go Nullifier anyway, can remove the Ghost Shroud and just solo kill him, or... we'll see. Maybe a Lycan again, like last game.
Lycan did work pretty well, but we'd definitely be waiting for the very last pick, which Winstrike does have. So they can keep it pretty flexible for the moment. And a solidly built up Weaver can do the same type of thing, right?
Wait, do they have last pick?
Yeah, last pick is Winstrike's.
Oh yeah, I see, yeah. You are right.
I read a bar. It goes down the middle of the screen. It's too easy. See, 2
months ago, I would just instantly tell you who has last pick without looking at the bar. But because I never really look at this bar, it's just by order of who has which band next. I would just know the rest of the draft. But since I haven't picked for like 2 months, it's a bit far away right now when I look at this.
You need to use that. It was a drafting site where you could draft against your mates.
Yeah, the cluster. Yeah.
Oh, that was
useful.
Yeah, but now, man, like, make it so easy to do Dota these days. You get to see the order of the picks. Remember back in Warcraft 3 Dota when we cast then, you couldn't even see abilities when you clicked. You want to check out information during the game, not available.
Oh, too bad.
It was just an empty box that was sitting in the corner. It was only ever useful for players, never for observers. Back in the days when I was a young man.
That was like 20 years ago.
Boy, that's
I'm not wrong, technically.
well. No, technically you are wrong.
Oh, you weren't young 20 years ago?
I was young 20 years ago, but it wasn't Warcraft 3 Dota casting 20 years ago.
That's a fair point.
That would have been 13 years ago. My God, it was that long.
Dude, they actually just banned both heroes. They just banned Klinks and Lycan now.
Yep.
So they were thinking.
Let's see.
They were definitely thinking along the same lines.
Oh,
maybe I'm the Danish Q, you know? Maybe that's it.
Do you provide us with really great tools before we go out into the field?
Wait, what?
James Bond version of Q.
Oh, sorry, I did not catch that at all.
Yeah, sorry. It was a.
That was advanced. Advanced. Next level joke.
Yeah.
Completely lost on me.
Flies over the top of your head.
When I was young, we didn't have James Bond anymore. That was when you were young.
What did Denmark?
Of course, we had James Bond.
5 seconds.
Whatever.
Who was your childhood hero? It wasn't James Bond. It was Super Ted.
Oh, Venge. Okay.
Is this when we start waving a Draw Ranger flag up in the air right now?
Possibility.
There's no easy way to close the distance. So Silence is fantastic against both of these supports and the Necro, and just enables the Weaver. I'm liking this more and more, even though we don't know the last two heroes of IG, the last cores that can close the distance.
The benefit to the Vengeful Spirit is it's a strong minus armor component for Weaver, and having the swap aggressively against Necrophos, I think, is a really strong tool. The hero depends on, like we talked about last game, being safe and staying alive.
Yeah.
And you can get burst really quickly if you get pulled into a bad position by this Vengeful Spirit. So you can definitely see this working out for Winstrike. But
she's also a great save. That's the only reason why I'm still happy to toss up the Joe Ranger.
But who deals the damage right now? I don't think they kill Necro with these heroes. So someone's got to do the work.
Well, Joe Ranger DK would be my line. You get your burst damage, you get your tower push out of it, you get your strength frontline that you require.
I don't know if you want to pick DK into Necrophos. You saw it last game. It didn't go very well.
Yeah.
He lost his lane.
True.
Sure, he got some catches with the Blink stun, but Dragon Knight never really felt like a threat in that game.
What else do you get? Something that's like right now, IG have nothing to close the distance, but we've still got 2 more cores for them to grab.
Core Silencer.
I'm not against that.
I mean, they could. They could also pick a support Silencer, play Venge Core. Silencer's just really good this game against these 3 heroes. I'm also seeing Nyx as a tempting pick. Great hero at killing Necro. It's very powerful, but it might leave your lanes a little bit fragile. Alternatively, you go for a Winstrike Classic and you get Nongrata his Doom. You could do that too. Hasn't been a very popular pick lately. But
and you may have a lot of troubles against the Rubik and the Shadow Shaman.
He's not that bad against Rubik. I think that matchup is not that bad for Doom. I know there's a chance that Rubik can steal Doom, but
yeah. And he's got that control. Hello, she's here.
Okay.
So they just need a tanky hero that can play in the mid lane. That's why I like the DK. Like he's always a good blend with the Drow Ranger because he switches his Dragon form and then gets the buff.
I'm worried for Winstrike if Invictus Gaming pick Spectre now. I think they can probably pressure the Spectre in lane and maybe go from there, but it feels like a game where Spectre cannot lose to this lineup in the mid lane game. It just feels like it's not possible. We'll see.
Are they going to go Wraith King instead?
Totally different approach. We haven't seen this in our last couple of games. In the beginning of the day, it got picked twice, I think, as 3rd and 4th pick.
Yeah, because it was always like that off laner they would try and run, but if Dro's got any kind of like if she hits level 6 and with the VS setting next to her, she won't have an issue killing off those skeletons. And she's actually really strong at doing that.
True. She can kill the skeletons pretty quickly.
You don't get the same kind of push power that you get out of the Wraith King when you've got that single target heavy damage that Dro can provide. And I'm still wondering how IG are able to hold in their lanes when Weaver's going to have that bonus damage too. Obviously, this all doesn't come early game. This comes once you hit your 6, then you get the plus 26.
Yeah. Good brood ban. That would have been really annoying for them to deal with. Even if they had one counter pick for it, it would have still been an annoying for this game.
So DK, or do you actually go something we saw earlier today, which was the Invoker pickup?
For Winstrike?
For Winstrike, go for the Claw Swex. Good EMP burn against Necro and Wraith.
I think we want to see the last pick of IG first, because I think Winstrike are just patiently waiting right now to get the last piece of information.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of time though. Only 11 seconds worth of reserve time to make that choice.
What you generally want against Drow is a hero that closes the distance, so she loses her aura, and you just threaten to kill her. That's why Spectre is nice. Classic counterpick to Drow is Lycan, but they banned that themselves, so can't go that.
Is Slark enough of a hero if you'd consider him?
I would not pick Slark.
I'm seeing a very heavy shake of the head.
Back in the day, you would go PA against Drow, but I think PA will suffer this game. We have a really hard time.
So how would you, like, were you going to run Wraith 3, Necro 2, and then PA 1?
That's the last problem. It's also the lane.
Because then you're running a PA versus Weaver and Undying Harassment off lane. Because that's what these lanes should be. It should be VS Drow, Weaver Undying, or Weaver VS together. Either way, it's a nightmare.
Oh, they banned
Huskar.
So they might want TA.
I was wondering about Huskar. Like, Wraith King can hit real hard, physical too.
My biggest concern.
And Necro.
I think Huskar would have been pretty good this game.
Really?
Yeah.
Doesn't Necro still just wreck him with Scythe?
If he's low enough, yeah. The magic resistance gets really high, so you need to get Huskar very low, and then you can Reaper him.
Gonna have him on practically nothing.
5 seconds remaining.
I'm not sure exactly how low he needs to be, but he needs to be pretty low. The thing here for IG is I'm concerned that their support duo is just weak. Like, how are they gonna win lanes with Rubik Shadow Shaman support duo, and they're playing against a Drow laning?
It's a Mirana?
Okay.
That's not the close distance hero you're looking for. It's a hero that can deal with Undying's Tombstone at least, but that was the least of their concerns in game 1.
I feel like this could turn out to be a great Drow game. If you don't have strong laners, you're not going to pressure Drow a lot in lane. And then when she gets to scale and snowball her lineup, they could be looking at a very dangerous mid-game situation where these support Rubik Shadow Shaman, if they don't get much done in the laning phase, what can they really contribute in that mid-game? We talked all the good stuff about Nullfield. Well, look at Winstrike. They deal physical damage in spades. So
it is.
There's the Invoker. Quaswex would be amazing this game. It's great against Wraith King. It's great against Necro. It's great against Shadow Shaman. It's good against Mirana. Lovely pick.
And it's a great hero too when you can run a Quaswex Invoker with the Drow Ranger or a buff up. So what you like by not picking up Exort gets stronger, and your Alacrity buff up the Drow.
I think if Winstrike win the lanes in this game, they could just run with this very quickly. This could be a pretty short game, like 25 minutes. But
maybe we actually had the 15-minute GG that everyone's searching for to get it in the compendium prediction.
At the same time, though, got to be a little bit careful with getting too excited for them, because they have no real frontliner for the Drow strat. They have Undying who can like pseudo do it, but he's still a support. And if IG do manage to do their laning well enough, even if they lose the laning stage a little bit, their team fight is still really nice. They have the frontliner in the Wraith King, the Shadow Shaman wards. Rubik can maybe spell steal something useful like a Tombstone or something from Invoker. And they have tons of damage. They actually have a lot of damage between their heroes, including the supports. But they need levels, and that's the challenge here, is to get them online. I'm feeling Winstrike for this.
I'm feeling Winstrike too, because this is a very comfort zone. Like, Silent played so much Drow Ranger in the early days of Dota 2. Like, Iceberg's Invoker, Iceberg in general is just, like, I was always looking for him to be one of the biggest standout heroes for Winstrike. And everyone else just has to play the right way. Don't die too much. Keep their lane harassment up.
What IG, I think, will be looking for in this case is to get the Necrophos in lane against Weaver. I think that's the best they can do, because that lane Weaver should lose over time, just getting out-harassed, taking damage from the Death Pulse, and Necro just regens, and then you have an aggressive dual lane with Wraith King plus Rubik or Shaman, and you try to pressure the Drow that way. I think if you put Necro in that lane, Drow doesn't actually mind that much.
Yeah.
Drow outranges him, she slows him. If he ever comes in close, you can gust him away.
The issue would be like if Rubik gets a drag back onto the Necro. Like, offlane of Weaver and VS, and it is going to be a dual offlane Rubik and Wraith King together. Mirana and Shaman up on top, but Necro is taking the mid game against the Invoker. Oh, Iceberg, just take it all.
All these tips that do nothing, they're the best.
So many machine jokes right now. Observer ward's down. That will block up the pull point. I don't know if Winstrike actually saw that, but that's such a critical camp as well. As a Druid Ranger, you always want this camp to be pulled out so she gets as much experience out of the lane as possible. That's as much solo experience too. Actually makes Druid Ranger really nice in this meta. The fact that you very rarely are in tri-lanes.
Yeah, but often she's not very good in 2-on-2 either, though, because, you know, she's a very weak laner, and you can get abused 2-on-2. But this game...
No fear. Uses the Wave of Terror over on Q. They're trying to contest for the runes. Nongrata, they're pushing off IG. The arrow will connect from aggressive, but now they just have to get out of this one safely. Nongrata will Shikuchi away. Another Wave of Terror, but No Fear will have to burn through some of the tangos, but he brought 9, so
Winstrike got 4 runes.
They actually got all of them?
They got all 4.
How did they get the ones on bottom? Like, that's Rubik and Wraith King.
So they played aggressively with Undying and Drow into the Rubik Wraith King, and then meanwhile, Iceberg snuck over and stole the other bounty rune.
Oh
So
boy.
managed to get all 4. That's a really, really good start for them.
Yeah, that's a nice early money. Necro, little bit of trouble hitting into the cold snap of Iceberg, but they've taken so much damage both ways. But that's why the salve's already coming out. And the courier, not to mention a couple of extra things. He's already got a mantle flying out as well. Nexus S is forcing the issue. Fortifies the creep wave so he can battle underneath the tower. And thanks to his death boss, this creep wave stays alive for so long.
This is really, really big what's happening right now for XXS. He's winning the lane super hard. This is...
Did Iceberg just lose 2 range creeps as well? Like, he didn't
Yeah.
get anything from the 2 range.
He's getting dominated here.
That's forcing down the lane. He's pinging out. He wants some help to try and come over. Bobika's causing problems on bottom lane, so Silence forced to fight underneath the tower. And I always want to fly Cuns just zone out ZRF this way, but No Fear's made his way over. So Necro's on the move out. Iceberg has nothing really to help out, but maybe No Fear's got enough damage. The courier's on his way in. He's got himself a salve. He'll wait till he gets uphill. Magic missile with a Wave of Terror keeps the vision, and No Fear, well, he was dumpstering the lane XSS, but No Fear takes the first blood solo and creates the space.
That was very necessary. Now Iceberg is back in the lane again. He's still losing it on CS, but in terms of net worth, the heroes are pretty even now.
I'm kind of surprised that, like, in that point, should Iceberg have fortified and kept his own creep wave alive?
I think so.
Because he had it the whole time, and now XS is just doing exactly the same thing as before. 2 more attacks would do it from XSS. And Iceberg just doesn't know how to stand in this lane.
This is terrible for him. Oh my god, if he dies to 5 HP.
Calculated.
He's losing a full wave at his tower. He's not even getting the XP right now. He's getting zoned off completely.
And XSS can just stand his ground and take it. Iceberg needs almost permanent help in this mid lane. Tornado's not even long enough. Wastes it. The call snap with the tower. He may have enough damage. Our Ranger will die in the meantime. XSS, nothing can reach him. Even with these attacks, Iceberg, XSS can just salve back up again. I know Bobika was looking for a nice little gank moment on the bottom because he had himself a double damage rune.
This lane, in theory, is actually really strong. The telekinesis into the Mortal Strike. So you lift the enemy into the spawn skeletons and then Wraith King stuns, and they just hit the Drow. I bet that's how they got the kill before. I was looking mid, though, but...
Yeah, so was I.
This is a laning stage that's turning into a stomping from IG. They lost, remember, they lost all 4 runes.
Yeah.
And now they're ahead of on net worth, also losing First Blood. That is pretty unheard of, level minute 3, to be able to do that.
And the lanes don't really change around. Like, Weaver doesn't become aggressive until Dro
lane.
has 6. But while Bobika and SRF can be this strong, Cold Arrows slow down SRF. So I always want to fly gets back behind the tower and away from the minions. But this is the nightmare for Silent. Like, he can't get close to the lane. Same thing as Iceberg.
Tower is under attack.
Like, it's 7-2 CS, the 21-2 of mid. EMP, Tornado, at least be able to create some kind of problems. But he's still regenerating it up.
That's still good for Iceberg. He got 3 CS out of that. At least. Rune being grabbed by XXS, but lost the CS in his tower. He was probably hoping for another rune than illusion. It's a pretty bad rune right now for this hero.
Creep wave pulls on again on bottom lane. See this time if Silent cannot be dived. Nice observer wards up from No Fear, so Q. His movement is very much telegraphed to Winstrike, but then again, Chikuchi forward, perfect on the shackles from Q, and the follow-up arrow, and the Ether Shock. No Fear got the first blood, but he's had nothing since then.
And so far, so good for IG, right? Imagine if they got some bounty runes in the beginning. They would have more than a 1k gold lead.
Now IG's going to get all 4 bounties.
Are they?
Potentially. Arrow flies forward. Will be dodged off. Q's in trouble. Starts his TP. That'll be unsuccessful.
Ambitious.
But he got the bounty. So yeah, they take all 4 runes. Now SRF looking to go after Drow Ranger. He has to gust him back. A nice little push, but the movement speed is just so good. Another blast off cooldown in 2 seconds time. And thanks to the pickup from Baboka, they're in range, but Drow Ranger stick charges keeping her alive. But the minions from Wraith King are just way too powerful. Always want to fly, might be able to get a pick off onto Baboka, but no. Even with a double decay hit, it's not enough work. And this Drow Ranger's life's a living hell. Another EMP Tornado with a wave of terror, but XSS, he'll lose mana, but he's got 8-1 charges available too.
Yeah, he has enough mana to Ghost right now, so he can Shroud Stick whenever he needs and get a lot of mana and health. He's actually going to do that just now, so. Back up to 300 mana, just like that. Very nice. Some would say very balanced. But it's Ghost Shroud really makes this hero. Ghost Shroud and Reaper really make the hero.
Bottom lane again, Silent. Life is really not worth living with this Drow Ranger. 3 deaths now, 6 minutes into the game. There's definitely diminishing returns from IG as far as the gold they get, but you get all the returns in the world when Drow Ranger is continuously delayed from level 6.
And this kill is good because not only do they take the Drow out, but the skeletons stay alive. And that means that when they're pushing this tower, they have Wraith King skeletons and Siege Creep and 2 heroes down here. And Always Wanna Fly will not be able to defend this tower on his own. He might actually even get dove here.
VS is on the way. Drow Ranger's running past the tier 2 tower. Quick hit on the Mortal Strike. They drop down the Tombstone as No Fear can't get close enough for the stun. You can decay onto Bobica, but that Tombstone gets very much wasted. Not to mention the experience underneath the bottom tower and the damage onto the tier 1 tower. Very hard to repair. No Treant in this game.
Q was mid-animation on Shackles and non-Grata top. And
Winstrike, them Iceberg. Very low on life. XSS keeps the run going. 1 more attack. 2 more attacks will have to do it. Okay, maybe a little bit more. Wave of Terror's the wrong direction. XSS ran up the lane, and No Fear's committed pretty deep for that. Was just short of his magic missile because he threw that second wave of Terror.
What a big kill that would have been, though. A level 4 hero killing the level 7 hero in mid. Solo. So much XP.
Shackles from Q. Bobica just needs to Fade Bolt. Doesn't have the stick charges for it.
They're actually not getting him, no.
But No Fear will survive. And he'll even be able to stack up Ancients on his way through.
Man, this is a sad draw. He's real sad.
Yeah.
Helm of the... Wait, what? His Helm of the Dominator on Wraith King.
Really?
Oh boy. We have not seen this build yet this tournament, I think, from Wraith Kings.
We have not.
Multiple Wraith Kings. At least I have not noticed Helm of the Dawn build. So it's different. Something different from SRF here.
Seems to be a great thing to enable a dive.
Absolutely, yeah. They can tank up long for the skeletons, and a lot of the times help close the distance for a second Wraith Fire Blast if you have the right creep.
Q's moving
nice
down.
for the consistent lane pressure.
Silent seems to be like of 2 minds if he wants to stick around. Grata will TP in, and looks like the calls come in. It still seems very iffy if Winstrike want to take this, because Silent is not 6 yet. So this defense has to work. So Tombstone will be dropping. They're looking to kill up the Wraith King. He doesn't. Okay, he'll level up Ankh right now. So it does burn off And they'll try and kill him off again. EMP Tornado, burn off this mana, combining with the Cold Snap, Wraith King. This is a big kill for Winstrike, but they brought 5 heroes to do this. So XSS makes the most of the opportunity. Pushes to mid tier 1 tower, and Aggressive's going to do the same up on top.
I don't think that was worth it. I think they overcommitted to this. Sure, they get this kill, and yes, he does kill Reincarnation, but a 5-man rotation for that 1 kill, while the Mirana is now totally free farming, and so was Necro for 2 full waves.
They'll be able to get the Observer Ward at least. Their scan pinged out the fact that Q was going in a little bit deeper. And yeah, there it is. Instantly they'll get rid of that deep Observer Ward. Small mercy, small advantage. Take what you can get.
And now that they've left the bottom lane, SRF is like, okay guys, you want to go again?
you want to take 4 bounty runes?
Another one?
You got 15 seconds to do it in.
True, yeah, the runes are coming up. Aggressive has cooldown on arrow, so I don't think he's going to try to steal the enemy bounty rune top, but he will definitely grab his own, and Always Want to Fly will not be getting this. So this will be 3 runes for IG and 1 for Winstrike.
Yep. God,
So
Silent is just begging for level 6. Life is so hard as a draw ranger before you have that.
Bottom tower has fallen.
Nice haste room for Q, but he's not going to try and capitalize on Always Want to Fly. Always Want to Fly, stay away from Silent. He needs every inch of this experience. Well, he just saw new sentries being planted. Q on the D ward. Able to claim it.
Shaman looks so funny with haste.
Oh, they get the shackles off too.
Always Want to Fly looks
And
so
Stolen
dead.
Decay and Gust. Oh, create a little bit of space. There's support on the way from the Invoker. VS TPing in. You'll get the Tombstone off. As No Fear able to hit connect on his son and Wave of Terror. So Wraith King on 0 armor at the moment. They keep the Cold Snap going. Remember that Reincarnation such a long cooldown. They'll even deny the Tombstone.
Nice
Pro
tornado.
Ranger finally hits level 6, so bonus damage has arrived, and the defense is good.
But Boka died too. He got run down by the Weaver. So 2 good kills there for Winstrike. Forced them out of their jungle again. Still though, aggressive free farming top hasn't really changed much. And the net worth
Swap
CS. So
into the EMP burn. As you said, Necro likes to sit in the back line of play. He'll get the Ghost Shroud off, as well as the Dead Bottom with the help of Q. Well, he'll be able to potentially survive another tornado to fly through. Excess is so low on life, but with the Starfall, a quick time lapse out. No Fear, 1 more attack from Aggressive will do the job. Iceberg comes back out of his Ghost Walk on 5 HP. He survives with Baboka. Just Shakuchi's his way forward. Hits him with the Fade Bolt, finds the kill. And it's not what Winstrike was really looking for. They wanted to finish the Necro, but incapable.
And it's only going to get harder when he starts getting an item or 2. He's buying armor right now, which I think is the good choice going for the Veil build. You can see him, though, the Helm of the Iron will help a lot against the next play, because sure, this Invoker is dealing some magic damage with the EMP Tornado, but apart from that, it's really the physical attacks that are getting the job done. As long as he survives to get the Ghost Shroud off, they don't really finish him off.
Another way around it.
Middle tower is under attack.
For now, I think they're just happy that Winstrike are able to get some farm on the map, and the fact that they're only like 2,000 net worth behind. Like, this is a bit of a dream, if you think about it. It could be a hell of a lot worse.
Judging from how the game started, it could be a lot worse and a lot better. Because they got all the bounty runes in the beginning. And the First Blood, but then all of their lanes, they kind of got pressured a lot.
Dire's
Yep.
middle tower is
So
under attack.
Smoke is up. They were out of range of the Dire Observe Ward on the hillside. And it's Winstrike rotating to the bottom lane. So SRF underneath the Observe Ward. Baboka, they know he ran forward as well. And they want to rotate around. So EMP burn into Tornado. Tombstone's up on the hill. So SRF can't do anything about it. He's got 1 charge that's available. It would have been enough to bring him in range of Reincarnation. But he did not get it off in time. The stuns exist. Baboka still with Shikuchi. So he feels pretty confident to survive on this offlane.
it's going to TP top. They're looking for an Angrata, but he's very far away. This move is not happening.
Shikuchi down to range of the Sentry Ward, but they just commit the Mass Serpents.
Radiant structures.
So IG can try and take this tier 1 tower, but support's on the way. Undying's arriving, no Tombstone available. But Nagrana's trying to finish off a couple of these Serpent Wards. Stop the push. Double Decay will help with that.
Oh, if Baboka gets this angle, this could be really good for them.
Yeah, looking to wrap around the back with Shikuchi. He moves so quickly. And he wants to pick up over on the Weaver, so then they can get the arrow. There's nothing to block it at all. They connect. And with Starfall as well as Ether Shock, that's a lot of burst damage. No Fear trying to actually battle it out, but there's still a couple of Serpent Wards, not to mention 3 heroes running right through him.
Radiant's top tower is under
It seems like a very scrambled defense.
Scanning.
Oh, Iceberg ran right into Sentry. They didn't have telekinesis. He could have died there, actually. Just ran straight through it, but nobody stopped him.
Bobica stole Ghost Walk. And they're going to shrine up in a second too. Very efficient usage considering how much all three players need to regen. I suppose looking for his moment in mid, but okay, no, there is no moment. No one else is there. Silent is still farming inside the jungle.
Now Bobica will trying to find Non-Grata once again, this time with a different invis.
Yeah, that's that Ghost Walk in close and pick up. Nope, he'll go invis. Runs down into the trees, comes back up again, and now they get the grab into the arrow. Perfect synergy once again. We expect nothing else from Invictus Gaming, and I just love how Bobica is just bringing this roaming support.
It's been really impactful with Rubik this game. It worked out so much better than I thought. Before the game started, I said they would have weak support.
The Gust, perfect. The Tombstone from always on a fly. There's just no way for Q to run away. And aggressive. He leaped out. He's still got another one available. The Magic Missile will connect an Iceberg's rotation over. Aggressive's had such a good game. But they were looking for the bounties, which maybe they've been taking a little bit more for granted. Winstrike take the bounties and the 2 kills. And Iceberg quickly TPs over. Again, this observe ward gives them information. The EMP tornado, the cold wall needs to be put up to slow him down. He's got a couple of 1 charges up, so if he wants to burn the reincarnation, he can do so. Still a very long cooldown on it. The Sunstrike hits. It does. And one more attack. They can't reach him. Decay is too far off.
Very, very close. They would have been happy to just get a reincarnation there. But not enough.
Yep. Mid tower does get denied while that was going on. So it's lost, but no extra money for Invictus Gaming. But they're losing map control, Winstrike. You're 16 minutes in. I suppose your top tower of IG is pretty much doomed.
Yeah, they could have denied that.
And they're holding on to it for now. And now it's Silent who's fighting underneath a defensive vision. Observer and Sentry on the hillside. But it's mid-smoke that IG are preparing. They may want an extra one, and yeah, they're coming back for XSS.
They're going to make the move. So when this game started, I said it's really important for IG that their lanes, that they don't get crushed with this Rubik Shadow Shaman support duo. And I think it went beyond expectation, this early laning stage. So now they're hitting this timing where they have the Wraith King Blink Dagger.
He ran in, they Sentry, they got the Hex off, shocked as well as Scythe.
See ya.
The Gust will get onto 3, but look at him run forward, aggressive. He wants a piece of this. Moonlight Shadow's out, but the Sentry Ward is there. That's why aggressive, still very visible. Swaps him onto the Silent, which actually cancels the aura for half a second. Weaver will buy back, looking to continue to be part of this fight as XSS begins his TP out. Is there a stun? Yeah, there is. And the Gust over onto Iceberg. Took so much damage for this, but Silent just stood his ground most of the time as Non-Grata is battling the rest of Invictus Gaming on the right side. Is SRF totally isolated. And what a team fight for Winstrike. Non-Grata cannot keep up with Rubik. There's 1, he's undying, and 2, he's got Shikuchi.
And that was only the 1 buyback from the Weaver, and they got a great fight out of that. That was a very good decision. They realized that IG were committing into a position where they kind of had no turning back. I think aggressive, especially, was very out of position there. Played it too far up.
Arrows connecting. Non-Grata doesn't have time left, but he's got 21 charges, and Shikuchi kills off Bobica with the extra life he was granted.
Value Ogre Axe. That made the entire difference.
It did.
Actually. He would have died and not got a kill.
I was like Silent and well, okay. I don't know if No Fear really intended to hit the shrine just then, but either way.
This can start balling really quickly now for Winstrike. That fight was crucial. They get the Shadow Blade on Drow completed. And who's getting treads? Is that the Venge? Yeah, so Venge will get treads. Treads Drum, almost level 12, minute 18 on their position 4. The Invoker got a lot out of that last fight too, and Weaver with the completed Dragon Lance. The peak that they're hitting now, they hit so hard with their heroes.
Yeah.
If IG are not on top of each other and get a very quick counterplay, their heroes just die too quickly.
Yeah.
Like, it just seems so rough as well. No fear. Yeah, Iceberg doesn't want anything to do with that. It's not what he was looking for. Mid lane in the meantime, pick up over on Always Want to Fly. He'll get a soul rip off, gives him some extra life, but not enough. Now Silent comes into the fight, and yeah, he hits like an absolute truck. He'll get the kill on Raking, realize this was the moment to fight. And he has an escape mechanism anyway. Top lane, here comes Iceberg under the sentry ward. He'll dodge back. He saw IG moved and reacted to it. He's in between two sentry wards. The top tower, denial. Nah, missed from the Weaver.
Aggressive has good damage with that Yasha Aquila build.
Q's hiding under the cover of Moonlight Shadow. He wants to get the Hex, Shackle, Iceberg. He's got defense. Tornado only catches on 2, then stolen by Baboka. And looks for his own target. Q, the Beatles are on him, and No Fear is going to arrive. IG know they cannot take this fight. Hit by both Wave of Terror and the Swarm. Life's a little too hard. Mid lane Silent. Blinks invis himself away. But connected on by Dust. Goes for the Gust. And the TP out. The Gust needed to be able to connect to make it work. Meanwhile, Baboka will die up on top lane.
That was so close. That was a really nice attempt from Baboka. He was super low, stole Shikuchi, got it off before the attack from Weaver connected on him, but they still had Dust on the Weaver, and he was able to run him down and get the hit off one more time. But yep, that's 2 big core kills for IG, though. They got both the Invoker and the Drow. The Drow kill going to the Mirana makes it even better. That's a completed Manta style. Excellent item against Gust. Can even be clutch with it and avoid EMP.
Looking towards bottom lane. Eul Scepter might be able to help set up for the arrow, but Iceberg's got such high movement speed, 502 with the phase boost activated. And Drow range is building up even higher. What's she sitting at? So she's giving everyone plus 60 at the moment on the field. I don't think we need to start the counter. But they look towards Roshan. All that bonus damage has to go somewhere. Into the big man's the easiest thing. A little bit of negative armor. Tombstone for protection. And Invictus Gaming, they don't have Moonlight Shadow just yet. It's still on cooldown for a couple of seconds, but it's already too late. Winstrike already have the kill, and Iceberg, he goes hunting. He's got the Aegis Immortal. He's looking for a couple of levels up, a couple of charges to that Spirit Vessel, and they jump him in. But here comes the rest of the fight. The swap out, Tornado EMP. They're going to burn off everything this Wraith King has to offer, so No Fear will die. And he actually gets the War Trap? No, not cut him out. And away to safety, but Nongrata finds his target. Over towards XSS. Aggressive has to man to get rid of the Cold Snap so he can keep the run going. Great EMP steal from Baboka. Causes problems. Silent has no more cold arrows to work with. And these Mass Serpent Wards are a pain in their butt.
This feels like the exact same play from last game where Winstrike get the Roche and IG want to fight them. They run in and they just lose the fight because they go on the guy who has Aegis. It's literally the same play that just happened in the second game. This time I would say it's less crucial what happened, but at the same time they also didn't even kill the Aegis guy. But at the very least, Wraith King's reincarnation did not go off. He was out of mana. I don't know if that was a good or a bad thing actually. Maybe they could have fought with a second life, but that fight looked grim from the beginning.
If they actually fought, they probably would have lost even more.
I think so too.
And the Drow Ranger, like, you know how heavily Silent got shut down early on? He's now #1 on the net worth. The catch-up is real. Baboka starts his TP out. They don't have the damage. They don't even have the stun to cancel it. So away to safety, but the pings are coming. They want those bottom towers. They want that last remaining tier 1 tower from Invictus Gaming Winstrike.
I think they're going to get it too. I'm pretty sure Invictus Gaming don't want to fight for these 2 towers. I'll probably give them both up and just push down the other lanes and accept this loss.
Yep.
But we'll see. They have taken a couple of fights in the series that were maybe ill-advised.
Questionable at best?
Yeah. Right. I mean, look at how fast this push went. Yeah, ridiculous how quickly they took that.
Silent's actually TPing off it. Nongrata can probably do this by himself. He's got a double damage room bottled up, but they look towards the top lane. So Silent invis. If he hits the Gust, it won't be enough because Mirana still has the Manta style, so they need a follow-up stun to hold her there, or some kind of swap to get it to jump in the wrong direction. Iceberg's just taking bottom lane himself. 246 damage, sure. It's a thing. But support's coming over. Moonlight Shadow up. Wraith King with his Blink Dagger wants to close the distance.
They have Observer and Sentry available, so SRF runs through it, and they know. Nongrata will go invis, they get the dust off, and then the blink forward, looking for a quick time lapse. He'll have to be quick. That EMP from Rubik, still stolen, and they'll get the scythe kill onto him. 95 seconds without the Weaver. That's a very long time for the Aegis to basically sit there doing nothing, because they cannot fight without the Weaver, or don't want to fight without the Weaver.
Yeah, does he? No, he's not even close to buyback. So absolutely no way for this. Yeah, this should just be a bottom tower really for IG. They still have the Mass Serpent wards on Q, who is closing in on a really big level for Shadow Shaman. That level 15, the cast range on this hero is so good. That is one of the better support talents in the game. 125 cast range for Shadow Shaman.
They actually try and defend it, or they slow it down? Like an EMP Tornado from Iceberg should buy some time, but it won't buy 55 seconds. So there's Tornado, catches 2 with it, follow-up EMP, Cold Snap onto the Wraith King. They burn off everything he's got once more, combining with the Spirit Vessel. SRF is having a real hard time running away when he's Cold Snapped up. Bobika, he's the next big target into the tree line. Rubik has been an absolute pain in the ass, and the swap, they get the pullback onto the Necro. Defensive Fuel Septic can shroud as well as have the 20 stick charge, but not when Iceberg slams the deafening blast at just the right time.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Nice hold. And the tombstone placement here was really good. There's no way IG can fight into this position when they get jumped like this. And yeah, sure, Weaver is dead, but the Aegis on Invoker. Iceberg is really playing to his advantage in these situations, just taking advantage of the second life to basically intimidate IG. If he doesn't have the Aegis, they really want to go for him there, but they feel like they can't make this play. And they might not be getting as many objectives out of this Aegis as they perhaps could. They're getting kills, staying ahead.
Yep. That graph has done nothing but move up. So while the gold advantage doesn't look as huge, like it's 2.5k, it's the experience which is at 6.5.
Yeah.
They're getting a lot across the map.
Inflated because of the Weaver XP talent, of course, but Shaman has one too, so it's not as inflated as it could be.
Yeah, you went plus 35%. Suppose, like, is there ever a point to get mana break?
There is. There are some games where you do it. It would be tempting this game, right? You're playing against Wraith King. So
but then your Invoker kind of does all the other work you need to.
And he already built Diffusal too, so that's...
Well, that's a nice DD rune sitting top river. Someone with a bottle want that one? Silent? All right, we can just grab it anyway.
Damage.
So plus 381 damage and 197 base damage to a Ranger. I think it's time to push high ground, Send, because you've still got the Aegis for a little bit longer. And I mean a little bit. It's really not long. Moonlight Shadow from IG.
It's gone.
It's actually gone?
It is gone.
Okay.
It ran out a moment ago.
Okay. Bubble.
Pushing high ground is still tricky, though. It's really not easy to breach the high ground in this game.
Looks like IG know where Winstrike are. They're not taking the fight.
SRF spawned his boys. I actually thought he was going to keep them for a fight. Just going to farm Ancients for now. Now they smoke. I don't know about this then, because if you spawn these skeletons, they're AFK because they got smoked. They're waiting for a better day. They're just standing there.
Okay.
That sucks, because I thought he was going to spawn these. If he spawns them there, it's to push out bottom wave so far that Winstrike have to go and defend. But now he doesn't have them for the fight. That kind of matters, actually. Like, those 7 skeletons that he can't bring to the fight now can definitely make a difference.
Always want to fly, breaks the smoke. Wraith King looking for the target. As Undying starts with the earlier decay. Sentry wards it down. Now Tombstone into the ultimate, and Necro quickly silenced up. SRF will lose his mana. He has his secondary life, however, but XSS being isolated in the back lines, and they want to bring him down. Nongrata can do that almost by himself. And Invictus Gaming, this fight did not look good from the start, yet still, they trunched down the road and got slapped.
They brute forced that fight so hard. They fought into a team that was better set up and had 10 seconds to react. Wraith King walked into Undying, didn't want to stun him, kept just walking in a straight line. It's like, you know what?
It's not the
Here
hero
we
I
are.
want, right?
Here we are. Cast your Tornado EMP on our cores. And yep, that did not go over well. This is Rax, I think. It's only 20 seconds, but they push so fast. This is an Alacrity. Drow hits for 500. He hits for 500.
The attack speed as well is ridiculously strong.
Oh my god.
That's the DPS going through the roof. IG have lost their melee. That was an 18-second window. Sunstrike, it's off target. Q is literally standing still. As they get the jump, it's going to be swap stolen by BO2. He'll have to use it to try and save the Mirana.
That was not a good Reaper.
Yeah, it went on a full HP Invoker. TP away to safety for the Drow Ranger. Always want to fly as well as Nongrata could just walk it out. Just like a Stitch. This is, yeah. Invictus Gaming. I just wonder what you're thinking.
They've made a couple of really questionable calls this game about what fights to pick. I think they have chosen fights that just didn't favor them 2 or 3 times. And Winstrike are gonna just take advantage of you when you do that. They got way too many kills out of this. They got so much farm that maybe they shouldn't have had after the laning stage that they had in the beginning, but they took the fights that were available and just made the most of it, really. This Quaswix Invoker has been super useful.
And he's okay. It's forcing SRF to blink away. Yeah, everything just syncs up nicely for this draft. Weaver's cracked his 22. He went for the +2 swarm.
Oh, Iceberg top. He got lifted
this
into
is a big
Hex.
pickup. Support is on the way, and they're having a hard time killing him off. Support's coming in from the south. VS swap. Iceberg, he swapped down and swapped around. He'll be completely turned around, but IG didn't know exactly where to fight, and No Fear is sacrificing himself. It is a full retreat from Winstrike.
Swap to swap. Good save. That is worth dying for sure.
BO2's been really on the mark too. Like, he's always had fantastic abilities, like the EMP burn in mid lane previously.
Shukuchi plays, Ghost Walk plays.
They smoked underneath the Observer Ward.
I think Winstrike might want this fight. Even 4-on-5. If they could heal up their Invoker beforehand
Well,
and just fight on their high ground.
He's not using his Spirit Vessel for the moment.
That's a bit surprising.
They have an illusion of Drow Ranger moving as though it may be the real one. Probably hoping for a bait attack. They're going to use the Shrine to get Iceberg up. Observe Ward. IG sees a lot. SRF just jumps straight in. He only now turns on the Blade Mail. The damage is high. They're waiting it out. They're just kiting him at the moment as well. Is there an EMP? Is there another control? There isn't. They just burn through the Aegis. Another Tornado onto the Necro. Send him up. Bring him back down again. Nongrata has the kill. Another Scythe onto 100% HP hero. Silent needs his distance. He does not have it, but it will not matter. Iceberg is so strong when he's alacritied up by himself. And they are chasing IG into the trees where I believe people say it's safe, but always want to fly. Runs in close. They do get the earn off onto Mirana. So she'll fall. Q with the TP out. Won't happen. A triple kill for Iceberg. BO2 will be successful, but he's the only survivor from IG, and barely. That Tornado only just came off cooldown.
I might sound like a broken record here, but that looked like another fight that IG just forced super hard into really dangerous territory. I get that they want to try to take fights, but it's just not the way to go about it. It's especially not when they're playing into this Quaswix Invoker that they can't solve this problem. They actually just can't solve it. They don't have enough damage when he BKBs, and the Necrophos is getting into really awkward situations where he can't get any meaningful Reaper off. That was another fight where he tries to Reaper defensively. That's a really bad sign when that happens.
And he Reapers the hero seed. Like, even controlling doesn't mean that much. Like, he Reapered Undying after Undying popped all of his abilities.
Oh, it was Undying even?
It was Undying.
Yeah, that's ugly.
It was Undying when he was like at 95% HP.
That doesn't help.
No, it does not. So you're right. They're forcing it, but it's like when you force it, you can imagine them going on a singular target. But it seems like everyone in IG just have a different idea of which target they need to go on.
But I also think when they choose this fight, right? They choose this fight where they smoke in and place a ward, but they don't have Moonlight Shadow. Because if they have Moonlight Shadow there, it will be a different kind of jump, most likely, where they can surprise Winstrike. But Winstrike just saw the smoke break, and that's a dead Roche.
That's 557 damage on a Drow Ranger.
Yeah.
That they will now give the Aegis the Immortal to. Iceberg took the cheese. They know Iceberg can survive a lot longer than the Drow Ranger can. And she has been a pretty big target for the rest of IG. They just could never get the Necro down to her.
The Necro has felt super underwhelming this game. Like, really, really underwhelming.
Shrine is under attack.
Oh, Shrine's getting beaten down. Silent does so much damage, but even by the time IG want to try and fight this, it'll take too long.
Has fallen.
And they Moonlight Shadow, but there's no opening they found. Even Radiant Sentry, what did BO2 get? Okay, that took a while to reach him, but he stole Gust. Nice arrow, 5 seconds on Iceberg. They force-staff him away, and this drags SRF even further back, and they got perfectly hit by the Swarm, and still didn't get the kill on Iceberg. The Scythe was there, but he was 20% after the Scythe. Buybacks that have to come thick and fast, because aggressive is getting ripped apart. Dro Ranger, the Aegis Mortar will break, but with the cold snap out, it's a triple kill for Iceberg. This Invoker is going ham.
Has 4 vessels. He can heal up his entire team, and they can keep this push going if they want. Or they could just settle for how many buybacks was that?
They got 3. They got actually on all 3 cores ball back.
3 cores, and all they lost was an Aegis and a cheese. That is such a big win.
And now they give Iceberg an Arcane Rune and go back in and fight.
And an Oxrine core as it looks, so all his spells will have like 5-second cooldown. That's pretty hype.
Yeah. Don't think he'll spend that money now, however.
Oh, he might. I don't think he has to save buyback right now. I actually don't think there's a threat that IG end this game or take racks even if they get a bad fight. I think you just buy up here.
What is IG up to? Like, why are they moving as 5? Like, is it so someone could buy something at the secret shop?
They need to move together because they're terrified. Like if they get jumped and they're not close to each other, we talked about it earlier in the game. The damage comes out so fast from Winstrike that they have to be in range to react for each other so quickly.
I suppose that's the only place too with vision. Like the Observer Sentry Ward gives them some level of comfort.
Yeah.
Which they do not find in their other jungle. Yeah, but Winstrike are preparing now for the mid push. Top lane's already been taken care of. It wasn't even a hero that killed off the Ranger axe. It was 2 catapults that pushed him previously. And they see Bobica by himself, but you know Bobica's going to have escape, blink, force, and TP with 21 charges. Just needs to relieve the pressure on the bottom lane. Starts his TP already. And Nongrada's too late.
But they are super cornered in their base now. Very limited on options here, IG.
They Moonlight Shadowed. They're coming out.
This is an all-in play. If this one fails, the game is over. And they know it, so they're hoping, they're banking on the Winstrike team being spread out.
Pick up, throw down with the Starfall and the Scythe. They get the kill.
Not
2
bad.
minutes and a bit extra change where the Weaver is down. Meanwhile, buff up a Force Spirit and take out a tier 3 tower. Did they actually use the Dro Aura too? Dro Aura, click, 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 click. Not happening.
He just used it now.
Little late though.
Too late, yeah. That actually could have maybe been a range track.
Yeah.
They used it straight away.
Well, they just go again. They've still got the Aura up and running, so all right, here we go once more. This is why you don't need SD Luna. You just send in Force Spirits to do your dirty work for you. And the Lincoln Sphere is completed on the Dro Ranger, so silent. Defensive item for him. Wraithfire Blast, Scythe. Rather difficult to latch.
Well, this item could be big for IG. They just got an Axe on Shaman. He's getting level 20. Q is actually really farmed this game for his team. And obviously, Boboka is way richer, but given the circumstance this game is in, this is a pretty rich Shaman.
I love when
20 just off.
Iceberg's Tornado lasts so long that he actually had trouble timing the EMP against SRF.
Yeah, did he take? I didn't take the lift time talent. He took the Chaos Meteor contact damage.
Finally, Winstrike have found that Observer Ward on bottom lane. As IG go very much dark on the map, the creep wave's the only thing really giving them vision outside their own base, but still, they decide they're going to invis Moonlight Shadow Walk underneath the Observer and the Sentry. Looking for a kill that seems questionable after you just lost your Observer and Sentry in the same position.
They really just want to try to take a fight while Weaver's dead. But Winstrike's not giving it to them. They're just going to wait. They're like, well, we have 2 lanes that are pushing in all the time, both mid and top. So if they're not dealing with this, sooner or later they're going to have to go back.
Yep.
They can just sit here and wait. Actually, Silent right now is taking a little bit of a risk farming that Ancient camp, but his teammates were nearby with the eventual swap, so probably would have been safe either way.
They're just waiting for next Roshan, probably.
And now they should be getting some info.
Fight. No, they got 2.5 minutes before Roshan could spawn.
Looks like Always Want to Fly might want to go for a smoke maneuver and catch the Invictus Gaming's side in their base when they start pushing out top. He was drawing some sort of a line on the map.
Well, they are grouped up, but no smoke.
Not yet.
They are lined up for it. Still working on items defensive for IG. It's a Crimson Guard that SRF is streaming. He can complete one day.
There's the smoke.
All right. So they use Iceberg as the front liner. It's pretty damn tanky, 2.8k. He's actually hitting himself. That was 500 as well for the Invoker. What's he get? He's getting plus 86 from Precision Aura. And he's got his Alacrity buff up too. So they're smoked up. Mirana revealed. Wraith King as well. Wraith breaks the smoke, but they swap in. They want it aggressive. He'll Manta and then leap back up again. SRF's in pretty deep, but then the Lincolns, it protected the Vengeful Spirit and the time lapse. It comes in once more. Aghanim's buffed up. An easy, quick save. SRF has no way to run back out of this one. And even with the Aghanim's upgraded Shaman wards, which were problematic for Winstrike, it's not enough to cause that many problems. And Cataclysm just leveled up, use it instantly. Everyone splits for IG though.
Hit absolutely nothing.
Oh, they got the Wraith King dead for a minute. That's more than enough of an opening for Winstrike just to go up.
Yep, healing everybody up nicely with the Vessel and with the Soul Rip. And Iceberg's going to save one last Vessel charge to use offensively with Cold Snap.
But no Mass Serpent wards, no Reaper's Scythe,
Yeah,
no Moonlight Shadow.
Another Reaper that... I get where they were coming from trying to get the Venge, but they used it too early anyway. And there was the Axe Weaver. I don't know if they noticed that one though.
It was the first time it was used, right?
Yeah, it was.
Gust over onto Silent, tries to actually break free. He's just standing his ground. Doesn't have that much to work with, apart from his team. His team's still actually a lot to work with.
Yep, that was another Axe time lapse, so Silent got back to full.
Baboka, Spirit Vessel's on him, 4 staffs up. They got the dust revealed just in case he has any kind of invis. And Bobak almost being pushed out of the map, out of the game. He can stay in the tournament for now, but Winstrike got to push a little bit harder to get him out of that. But 2 full lanes of racks down and the tier 3 tower on bottom. Shrine's already gone. They can come back for the 40-minute bounty runes. And the lead. This just seems to happen again. Like it happened in game 1. You were commenting about it. You just have this huge shift in the way of Winstrike. This isn't as powerful as game 1, but just feels like we've hit that point where IG is totally locked out of playing in this game.
It came around the Roche move again. Like Winstrike go to the Roche, they get it for free. Then IG are like, oh, let's fight them. And they go in the middle of the map, try to jump the guy who has Aegis, and just get a horrible fight out of it. It's been the same play both games, and that's really been one of the defining moments in both of the victories that we're assuming Winstrike are going to win this game by now. It's very unlikely they lose.
Oh, wait, where's my win probability? We're at 99%.
All right. The last 1% is... I don't know.
The ultimate throw.
I don't know what the last percent is.
Does it change with Roshan going their way? No, it still says 99%. This is Aegis, Cheese, and Refresher, and it's Invoker who's holding the Refresher for the moment.
The
he
1%.
actually doesn't have a slot for it.
1%'s got to be Iceberg running down mid and breaking his items or something.
I denied all my items. I don't know how it happened. Ask KYXY.
I wonder what would happen to the win percentage if he just broke all his items, actually. What it would say. That would be... Do it for science.
Yeah. I denied for science. Drone range is buffed up again. My
Their
God.
net worth advantage
It's almost
is more than
600. Now your jump comes in. The swap inside. There's still not enough. It's the Weaver they aim for. He'll do self. Time lapse back out. Goodbye, Necro. Goodbye, Wraith King. That's the second life of his. And really goodbye, Invictus Gaming. They've lost 3 heroes. GG is the call. And Winstrike. They didn't have a good start for today, but they end beautifully with a 2-0. Wow, indeed, LD.
So that will now put IG on a score of 2 and 4. And
Winstrike 2-2.
2-2, yep.
Okay.
They close out the day very nicely here. With 2 games that were... They were different in picks, but when you saw how the game played out, it was very similar styles. And definitely something we can expect more from Winstrike of this strong early mid-game team fight style.
Yep, can't wait to see it because we're going to be casting more of them on Stream 4 tomorrow and Day 3. You could tune in for that and tune in for all the games tomorrow. I think that's it. That's all. We're done. We're dusted. See you tomorrow.